Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're gonna be doing this makeup. This is a recreation for one of the characters of the new movie for Paramount. It's called Overlord. It's kind of something undead people or the live dead. I don't know, something like that. It's something happened. This is a character from a person that is normal, and this happened to that person. I don't know. We need to see the movie very soon when it's released on the cinemas. It's gonna be very soon. But until then, we're gonna be recreating this kind of undead type of makeup. So we're gonna start as always creating what is going to be our guidelines. We're gonna be using a pencil that is similar to skin shade, a little bit darker so we can see it, but it doesn't interrupt with the design we're gonna be creating on. So we're gonna be creating a couple of scars on the sides and one big scar underneath of one of the eyes and one big giant wound underneath on the other side. So we're gonna be using cream colors for this makeup look. I'm gonna start by applying red all over the areas we're gonna be creating this effect. We're gonna be switching between different colors. We're gonna be going back to red and then moving to brownness and red and black and darker purples and back to reds. So we're gonna be creating dimension, and for that we need to be layer up different shades. And after we have this kind of overall base red shade, we're gonna start creating what is going to be our borders, our design a little more polished. And I'm gonna be moving to a brown shade and start creating the borders and the design and most of the wounds, and also the inner part of the wound from the big kind of open wound that is on the cheek. We're gonna start darkening up. We're gonna be using different shades here, but I'm gonna tell you once we are doing it. So we're gonna have that one scarf on top of the big wound, one on the other side of the temple, and one just close to this one underneath of the eye, and also some here and there. As you can see, we start creating a little bit of depth, and then we're gonna be moving to the next color to give a bit more kind of dimension, and it's a purple. I'm gonna start adding some depth in some areas, and well, as you can see, just moving from one color to other just to create dimension. And of course we have to remember we have to get a very deep dimension hole in one of the cheek areas, but also we're gonna be creating the shape of the teeth because we're gonna have some exposure on the teeth a little bit, not too much, because we're gonna be covering them afterwards with a little bit of red so it doesn't show as much, but we're gonna see some of them. A little more kind of overall type of blood, you're gonna go for a brownish red and apply around the edge of the wound, and also I'm gonna bring it down to the neck. I'm gonna be applying some areas that don't have wounds, on the eyebrows, on the empty cheek, so on. So we're gonna be applying, moving from one color to another color. I'm gonna be back to the brown and with an eyeliner brush and start adding some details and adding some more depth. And also I'm gonna be creating the depth on between the teeth that we're gonna be lining up very soon. So for lining the teeth, I'm gonna be using a cream color, a beige color, and applying on each of the teeth. This, if you see the picture that I'm referenced, you see a bit some of the teeth, and also some of the teeth it shows kind of in the cheek area, but it doesn't show really like very visible. So I'm gonna be darken them with a little red now, and also a little bit farther down I'm gonna create a little more kind of invisible. So back to the black, back to kind of going back to the area that's gonna be dipping and creating a bit more kind of depth in here, also between the teeth, and also we're gonna go to the rest of the wound. It's a bit hard to explain this design. It's very useful to have the reference picture next to it. So you can see now is when I get into more details and adding some more black and depth in most of the rest of the wounds. Either lose the freshness, so I'm gonna go back to the previous red, the first red that I applied, and start adding in around the wounds and around some areas that doesn't actually have wound, just to give that kind of blood effect. And also I'm gonna be using to cover a bit the teeth and adding a bit more kind of freshness. As you can see, when I add this touch in some areas, it gives a little bit, you know, different, a bit more freshness again. I'm also gonna be applying this red a bit more in a wider effect on the other wounds, because I wanted that kind of freshness in there. I wanted to more kind of open wound, just fresh open wound, independent or indifferent of the rest of the effect I'm doing on the cheek. It has a bit more kind of depth, darkness, hollowness on it. And once again I'm gonna go back to the beige shade and apply some highlights. As important is to have the depth, it's important to have the highlights to balance out and get that more 3D effect. So I'm gonna be adding in the really darker area, but also I'm gonna be adding in some of the borders of the wounds to create that 3D effect. And also because I don't want it to be too whitish, I'm gonna go to a light pink and balance out some of these beige areas that are a bit white in some kind of in between the red. So I'm gonna stick with the beige on the outer wound, and I'm gonna put this pink on the central of the wound. This effect to look too fresh, so I'm gonna be set it with translucent powder and to shine to give a little more kind of a matte effect. Control it a little bit, because with the camera and the lining and all of that, the reflection and the dewiness of the wound is way too much. So here what I'm doing is just expanding that effect of the blood on my neck as the photo of the reference had. So last touch is gonna add a bit more depth in black in some of the areas, just to focus in some detail of depth. And now after we apply the light, it really gives that 3D effect. Last touches of highlights. And that's it. We're gonna be adding just a red pencil on the waterline, the upper lower of the eye, just to give that infection effect. And we are done with the undead character of the Overlord.
Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this makeup tutorial. If you did, please give a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. That will tell me that you like the content that I do. You'll find the list of products that I use on the bar below, and here you have the direct link so you can subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my tutorials for Halloween. I hope you enjoy this, the non-dead makeup tutorial for Halloween. And as always, thanks so much for spending some time with me. Be happy and see you next one. Bye.